What's up, everybody? David Yakir here for iHeartRadio's Yak About, a boomer's GPS guide to life. So if you're familiar with the years 46 to 64, then this is the place you want to be. So put your headphones on, go for a run, and listen as we yak about. Hey, girls and guys, David here for Yak About. On this broadcast, we yak about health, technology, politics, and anything that will help you be better, healthier, and more informed. Okay, we are back in the studio once again, and I'm here with Wayne.
David, how are you?
I'm good, Wayne.
Good.
So this is what I have planned for today.
Okay.
So, you know what happens is online, I often get responses in various places, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or some other podcasting systems, and people ask questions. And some of them, interesting enough, I can't quite answer on the radio. It's sort of a demo. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to start doing is actually putting up on our YouTube channel, the Yak About YouTube channel, which, by the way, I also post the radio shows as well, but I put our videos up. I'm going to start answering some of the questions, and whenever I know I'm putting up a video, I'll let the radio audience here know, and we can, that way I can answer some of the questions and show them, because technology sometimes you have to see. Mm-hmm. All right, so what I thought I'd do today is I was going through some of the comments and some of the questions and all that, and what I did was I just made notes. So I have a whole series of notes that people want me to talk about, and I'll try, and we'll see how it goes, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll talk about how gardening's going around your place these days.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
So, but I want to start, everybody, because this show is sponsored in part by New Vision Eye Center, and they are the people and the thought leaders in their industry that make this show possible. So go see Dr. Minotti, Ryan Tate, O'Brien, and the rest of that great team, because, you can say it, Sally, Wayne, yep, David, and all of us wouldn't trust our eyes to anyone else. Also, by Chef Bill, the personal chef and catering company. His clients on the Barrier Island have been raving about him and how he has made the food experience as unique and individual as the clients themselves. Some call him the caregiving chef. He's available as a personal chef and for catering your events, as small as a dinner party and large parties too. So if you ever thought of having a personal chef, call Bill at 772-217-5462, 772-217-5462, or contact me at info@Yakir Group, and I'll give you his information. Also, you know what I haven't done recently is talk. When we bring information here in the studio to people, and we really sort of dedicate ourselves to what we call the wiser and more mature people, we like to do our best at getting that information, researching that information, and bringing it out. And it's only made possible by our sponsors. And everybody knows, everybody that knows me in the area knows I've been really picky about sponsors, which is why, I so believe in New Vision. But we were thinking, in order to expand our abilities and capabilities to bring information to our public, is that we always need more sponsors. And we're looking for thought leaders in their fields who would like to sponsor this show, come on this show, and bring the information that is so necessary to our audience. And if you're interested in that, you can get me at info@yakirgroup.com or 212-244-6224. That's 212-244-6224. All right, so I'm going to try this. So one of the questions I get, were you familiar? Apple had their big, this is our Yak About Tech segment, I guess.
Okay.
So Apple had their big show. They do a big show twice a year. They do it once in June.
Right.
And once in September. And what they usually do in June, this is for them to introduce their operating systems for all their gadgets, to programmers who build the applications that people actually use on their phones, on their Apple TVs, on their watches, Apple Watches, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting because as I was watching this, their big thing at the show, which I thought was interesting, everybody knows I'm a fan of the Echo, Amazon's Echo and Alexa, they introduced a high-end speaker that'll compete with Sonos. You've heard of Sonos, right?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Sonos owns the market, sort of, as playing,
Yes,
wireless, high quality.
Wireless, yeah.
Well, this speaker, which has an Apple design, and I must say, just what I've seen of it, it is extraordinarily beautiful, is what they're promoting as a way for their Apple Music, for you to get beautiful stereo sound in your house if you have a subscription to Apple Music. Which is the $9.99 a month service that Apple offers that's similar to sort of Pandora Plus or Spotify, that type of thing. And apparently the speaker's technology is amazing. For such a small unit, it's got chips and sensors that sense where it is in the room, what direction people are standing in, and how it should be focusing the music. So Apple introduced that, and that was sort of the star of the show. But it was the first time, and everybody who knows me personally knows I'm a big fan of Apple products in general. And I'm also a big fan of Android products, but I'm in the Apple ecosystem. So I sort of stay there. But they introduced their new iPad Pro, which is a very powerful slate on its own. But then they showed you the next operating system. And it was the first time, and I've had this discussion with neighbors and people, that it's time that regular people can stop buying laptops and computers. It is now possible, really, to have an iPad with a new operating system that does, I think, that's easier to use, that's very powerful, and for most people will do 99% to 100% of anything they will ever need. And I thought I'm going to try to talk this through a little, and this is one of the times that I'd like to be doing this on video, with a video demonstration, because somebody asked me. You always get, by the way, if you're in the tech area, Wayne, you'll appreciate this. Everybody always asks you, how do you do this? Do people come up to you all the time and say, so how is you set up at home?
Well, not only that, but they say, can you fix this?
Oh, right. That's the other one. But they're always asking, like,
yes.
How do you do that?
Design.
What phone do you use? Well, what computers do you use? Because you're a tech guy. I mean, you're running a huge studio here with all this technology. So people always come up to me and they say, so what do you use your iPad for? So I was thinking about it, and I sort of clocked a day. And again, I'm going to do this so I can show it. And maybe if it works, I'll actually break it down in more detail. That on my iPad, I'll bring up my iPad. I get up for my long walks with the dog about 5:30 in the morning. And I realized on a typical Saturday that I conduct almost everything I do through an iPad. And to give you an example, I'll start off reading the New York Times on my iPad. I am from New York. It's my local paper, right? And I'll follow it with the Huffington Post, and then I'll follow it with Apple's News Reader. And what that is a program that just consolidates based on your choices, those things that interest you, the news. And in my case, the Apple News Reader shows mostly technology, right? So then, right, I'll read news. I go onto all the social networks. Again, on my iPad, I'm looking at the Yak About YouTube sites and the Facebook sites to see if my latest postings, my latest shows. Anyway, I realized that from there, I do all my banking, all my bill paying, right? All my writing for business right on the iPad in my business suite, right? Of course, it's got all my contacts, and it also has all the automation in the house. And I'm looking at this and going, there's almost, besides the fact that I need a heavier computer to edit video, which I believe the new iPad Pro will be able to do, I can actually, who is a technology person, could operate probably 100% between my iPad and my iPhone. So I really got to get it out there. If you're looking to get a new computer, I don't think you need, whether we're all familiar with our operating system. So if you're a Windows user and you want a notebook, fine, because you know how to use it. But I don't believe that the average person needs anything more than one of the tablets. Or in the future, I don't believe somebody's going to need anything more than their phone. You know, so that's my sort of rant on the topic. So where are we? We're about 10 minutes in.
Yeah, we're about 10 minutes. I mean, if you want to take a commercial break, we're just about ready.
Why don't we do that?
Okay.
And when we come back, I'll look at some other notes I have, and we'll see what we want. Okay, we're back. I'm David Yak here. I'm here with Wayne. You're listening to Yak About. And today we are looking at all the notes that'll answer some of your questions that you've been putting online. And a couple of things I sort of found. I found something really interesting, Wayne. Mm-hmm. Did you know we don't know how to age and we have to be taught how to age?
They need to teach us.
They need to teach us.
Nobody's taught me yet.
So I found this place. I just thought this was really interesting because it was an article entitled "Aging Doesn't Always Come Naturally." So they've developed classes to teach baby boomers how to age. So they've developed these classes around the country that are teaching boomers how to age. And one of the classes are about senior co-housing and all its complications and rewards. And the reason this was such a big draw, this one class, and I think this is the class that started it all, is that as the boomers who always sort of considered themselves sort of, not like other older people like our parents or grandparents, and we talk about that all the time on the station here, that the boomers are now reinventing themselves and exercising and walk and fit and really very much are not sort of the stay-at-home people. So they don't think of a time when they will slow down just because you can't fight age anymore. And one of the things they discovered is that many boomers really either don't have the family who can take care of them, not financially, but
physically
and spiritually, to have people available to them. And so they started this thing, and I think it's fairly possible. I know it's popular out west, and I think it's happening here also, this co-housing, where they teach you at a certain point that, they teach you all the ways of taking care of yourself, how to eat at a certain age, how to exercise at a certain age, what's good for you, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, to keep you physically and mentally as vital as possible. Mm-hmm. And it becomes, they used to, in the old days, the age was about 70. Mm-hmm. Now the age is about 80, where they're saying you need to learn in advance to look out for signs that are of aging. So if you can discover them early, you can develop ways and means of dealing with them. So they teach this class on aging. But another thing that's happening, and I sort of like it, instead of going into sort of the senior living into the big buildings, I believe.
Facilities, yeah.
There's a few of them around town here, that you would go sort of get a regular home, with couple of guys and a woman or whatever it is, and you would all have your own space, specially built bedrooms that are really complete, where you would have the dining room and the kitchen, and you would live in sort of family style, and of course the houses are built with all the medical buttons and close nursing services and all that, but it's pretty much duplicates the life you've always had, as opposed to going into a sort of an assisted living situation. And I sort of like that idea, the idea, I don't like the idea of being old where I can't manage my own life and that type of thing. But it would be nice to have sort of a set of friends and family till the end there who are around you all the time.
What are the signs we should be looking for? You mentioned there's some signs that they're teaching you.
Well, I haven't taken the class.
Oh, you need to take that class. There it is right there.
Right.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
I hear it.
That's right. That's interesting. So the class, let me see where the classes are. I think the classes are given out west right now. And figure Oregon. I'm going to find out more about it. And they do hold classes. And I just want to see if I can, during one recent class, a geriatric patient therapist with discussed the physical dynamics of aging, such as muscle atrophy and ways to combat it. They demonstrated simple functional tests to monitor one's physical capability and how to keep it tuned. So it's the type of thing, and I'll give you an example, and we had this discussion. At a certain age, a good test is, can you get out of a chair without lifting yourself up by your arms? And they tell you, they say a 65-year-old man or woman should be able to stand up and sit down, get out of a chair 12 to 15 times without using their arms. Right? So the type of things that they'll teach you is, if you can't, that's a sign that you can get some kind of therapy, physical therapy, to strengthen yourself so you don't let it atrophy. And in other words, these classes are teaching you how to be walking around and maybe taking long walks at 95.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Absolutely.
But I'll find out more about those classes. It just sort of popped into my notes and all that. Okay. Here we go. Okay. This is our big protest.
All right.
I'm getting everybody in protest mood.
All right.
We're protesting net neutrality. Okay.
Yes.
This is a big deal for me. And it's really interesting because, we don't often wade into politics here. But the one thing that, and I guess there are two sides to this. So let me tell you the issue of net neutrality. Under the last administration, they started putting in rules saying that all traffic over the internet had to be treated equally. And what that means is that if we happen to get our bandwidth and our internet connection, I think both of you and I get it from Comcast,
right,
and Xfinity. So under that, Comcast cannot ever say, when somebody sends out a signal, that okay, Netflix can come in tonight, Hulu can't. Right? So that's pretty much net neutrality, which makes sure that even small businesses who have an offering or are streaming something that they'd like their customers to see can't get shoved aside because Netflix can pay $1 billion to all the providers to say, hey, stream me fast.
Right.
Give me all the bandwidth. Under the current administration, they're trying to do away with with those policies and allow the ISPs, which in this case would be Comcast or AT&T, depending on where you, or any other where you get your internet, that they can be the judge of what comes into you. And the reason is the ISPs are making the claim that their financial models, they will be stymied in developing new offerings if they can't find new revenue models in being able to control the traffic that comes through their bandwidth. So if we're all pro-business because business keeps the nation alive, but there's that dividing line saying, they're claiming that, we'll die if you don't give us the freedom to judge what we're going to do with our service. And yet, as a consumer, I fall out on the side where I think everybody has the right to get to me. And I want to make the choice of what I want to see, what I want to listen to, and that type of thing. And I'm just curious where you think most people will fall out on that.
I understand the business model aspect of it, but we're a small business and we depend on our bandwidth to succeed. So if I have the ISPs deciding that we can't pass their quote test to pass us through, that's going to hurt my business.
So a perfect example, if we can give people an example, you put out a lot of video out of here.
Right.
And in a lot of cases with a lot of our shows, you live stream our video out to YouTube, to Facebook, to live stream itself.
Right.
And, we as artists want we want to be carried on those. We don't want, you don't want somebody saying, well, you don't have a really popular show.
Right.
So I'm going to slow you down and I'm going to let this other show come in faster, because for me, that means I can't get my work out there. Therefore, if my work's not out there, I can't get sponsors or advertisers and I can't make money from a consumer side.
Yep.
So it's one of those issues that it seems to me, I don't know, in many issues, there are middle ground.
Yeah.
That type of thing where you sit there and go, okay, I can see your point here, I can see your point there.
Well, I think what's going to happen is it's going to give some freedom to the ISPs to start bumping up the costs again for internet access.
That's right.
I mean, I'm looking at several options now through our provider, which is Comcast Xfinity, and they have some of these incredible download-upload speeds.
Right.
But the cost is substantially different than what I'm paying now. So, I'm not sure where you're right. It's a business model, and I don't know where it's going to end up. And hopefully they can come to some agreement where someone like us, Planet Vero Radio TV, is still going to survive without the possibly huge increases.
Right.
So we'll see.
Right. All right. But if you are interested in protesting, because Amazon, Etsy, Kickstarter, Mozilla, and Vimeo, they're all holding a day of protest on July 12th. So I'm not sure how you join in, but I'm sure you can figure it out if you go and Google it. And I think I fall out on the side of net neutrality. For our last minute and a half, this is really interesting. Facebook just updated its apps and its online site. And I think this is really important. And this is political, but it doesn't matter what politics you have. The idea is that Facebook now allows you, when you compose something, that you can actually directly send it to your politicians. So if you decide to say something and you have a political statement or a belief, you can do it right in Facebook and tell Facebook to send it to, and it will send it to your local congressman, and it will send it to your representatives. So you have something to say. And the reason I like that is a lot of people don't know how to get in touch with their representatives to tell them. They'll look up a phone number or they'll call Washington and that type of thing. So look into Facebook and see how you can talk to your representative. Okay, so if you're new here and listening to one of the 20 podcasting systems that carry us, consider subscribing. And if you are listening to us via radio, put it on your calendar and set it for iHeartRadio's Waxy 107.9 FM, 1370 AM, or Real Radio's 101.7. And remember, we can also be found at iHeartRadio.com and all the major social networks. And by the way, look for Yakabout under the David Yakir Group and download the apps. That way you get every single show, and you even get the ones we do live, spur of the moment. All right, I'm David Yakir. For Wayne and I, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.